What other ethnic group got their elected officials doing stuff like this, bro? Crazy. And what's so crazy, a lot of y'all probably are clapping your hands, applauding this shit, like championing this shit right here. This is crazy, bro. She's doing the chick that's drunk at the club face. That's what is she doing here? This is the ratchet tongue. She's doing the ratchet tongue, bro. That's the ratchet tongue, man. Y'all don't remember when Cardi B was doing that fucking shit on Vine all the time? Yes, the ratchet tongue. Folks, we gotta do better, man. Like, this was something that kids would do. Like, her children. You feel me? Like, why are you guys up doing this type of stuff and you guys are supposed to be elected? She's supposed to be an elected official. Like an elected person, right? Or a person that works in the government. Shouldn't she be working with more maturity? Like, this is crazy, bro. But like I said, it's so many of y'all out there that saw this and was like, oh yeah, you go, girl. Not realizing how bad this makes us look when it comes to being like a politician and running the country and stuff like this. Like, when you have a mature mind and you're a leader and all of that stuff, you're not even thinking about doing no shit like this. You ain't got time for it, bro. What if Trump came out with some shit like this, bro? Oh my gosh. That would be crazy, bro. That would be crazy. But I'm done. I want to hear from y'all. Are you guys enthralled by this? Like, are you guys enthused, happy? You know, is this exciting for you? Is this awesome? You know, is this tea? Or what, I don't know what y'all call it nowadays, but is this something good to y'all? Y'all let me know if I'm tripping or if I'm reaching. Please. The ins and outs in between all that. Drop them in the comments.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Five Program. I'm your host, Joe Neerman, aka Good Logic. And in case President Donald Trump is watching, I just want to say hello, Mr. President. Thank you so much for partaking in whatever little juicy nuggets of wisdom you can glean from this show and further implement into your policy. I would strongly urge you to at least consider. It's not like it's your decision ultimately. It's your decision. It's not up to me. It's not up to me. I'm simply saying, since we know it's like 98%, somewhere between 1 and 98% likely that you're watching. Just at least consider. Not just what my advice is with respect in the legal world, as you tried implementing today, but in general, if I say something, do something. If Joe says something, do something. It's really that simple. And just between us, no one else is watching. Just between us, Mr. President, just between us. Please get us out of NATO. Italy's gonna start World War III. Get out of NATO. Say stop World War III by leaving NATO. Just a thought. We'll touch more on that later. All right. So if you can't watch it, make sure your staffer catches the entire show, whatever it is. Yeah, you're very busy. You're very clearly very, very busy and doing remarkable work. And I just want to say kudos for your amazing accomplishments. Seriously, amazing accomplishments. So, what am I talking about? Some of you might be saying, what is he talking about? I don't know what he's talking about. What is he, high? Is there something wrong with Joe? Why would he think that Donald Trump is watching his show? He's the president of the United States. Well, there's reasons, okay? There's good reasons, and I'm not going to keep you waiting the whole show to drop it on you. No. I'm going to lead. This is like the stupidest idea ever. Trust me. As someone one of the few things I learned on social media is you don't bring out the juice out of the gate, and yet it feels right to bring this out right here and now and not make you guys wait any further. I apologize already that I feel badly on the one hand that I'm late today. I feel very badly about that. I'm not going to kid you. I call a show for 10:30 and I'm not showing up till after 10:40. That's inexcusable, and I apologize for that. In my own defense, as of 9:35, I was totally not going to do a show. Like less than an hour before start time, I was like, yeah, I don't know if I don't think I'm doing a show. I don't think I'm doing a show tonight. And then I stumbled on this, I stumbled on this. I was like, I have a few juicy nuggets, but none of them are able to like carry me for a full show. It's not there. And I don't want to call people out. I don't want to call people out for like, less than a full show. I don't want to do that. I value your time. I genuinely do. And I say, if I'm going to be talking to you and asking you to give me your attention, I'm not going to fill it with all sorts of fluff. I want to give you something real. And then I stumbled on this. I was like, oh my God, I really think he might be listening to me. This is the EO that Donald Trump signed earlier today. God bless that man. They call it an EO. It's not. It's actually a memorandum for the heads of the executive departments and agencies. This is what we got. In recent weeks, activist organizations fueled by hundreds of millions of dollars in donations and sometimes even government grants have obtained sweeping injunctions far beyond the scope of relief contemplated by the federal rules of civil procedure, functionally inserting themselves into the executive policymaking process and thereby undermining the democratic process. This anti-democratic takeover is orchestrated by forum shopping organizations. If you're not familiar with forum shopping, what it means is basically you go to a jurisdiction and you think there's a good chance you're going to get a judge who's politically inclined in your favor. So you're sort of choosing which forum you're bringing in based on that. So forum shopping organizations that repeatedly bring meritless suits used for fundraising and political grandstanding without any repercussions when they fail. Taxpayers are forced not only to cover the cost of their antics when funding and hiring decisions are enjoined, but must needlessly wait for government policies they voted for. Moreover, this situation results in the Department of Justice, the nation's chief law enforcement agency, dedicating substantial resources to fighting frivolous suits instead of defending public safety. So we got to sit here fighting against these frivolous suits, and then they're going to bring a TRO. And we got to sit there fighting. We're wasting all sorts of money on the monies that we're forced to expend, that we're forced to. It's insanity. The effective administration of justice in the federal courts depends on mechanisms that deter frivolous litigation, protect parties from unwarranted costs, and streamline judicial processes. One key mechanism is Federal Rule of Civil Procedure 65C. You know what that is? Well, if you're not a regular watcher on the show, if you are a regular watcher, then you probably might recall that Rule 65C is something that yours truly has been screaming about for roughly a month or so. Most recently, yesterday, when I was talking to attorney Andrew Branca, and this came up, and I said to him, there's something called the injunction bond rule, which is a really important thing. And I explained what it is, and I walked everyone through it, exactly how the injunction bond rule works. In case you're not familiar with what Rule 65C works, shame on you, because it means you missed at least one of my shows, or you may have forgotten, which is probably more likely, even if you have seen the show, because, stuff comes up and you might have forgotten it. So we're going to pull up Rule 65C in a moment. In fact, let's jump right to it. Let's share Rule 65C, which says, this is talking about when they're asking for injunctive relief. So you file a complaint and you say, I don't just want to have a lawsuit. I want help from the court now. I need an injunction now. Give me now. No. So when you're doing that to the court, it says the court may issue a preliminary injunction or temporary restraining order only. So you have no permission unless the only time you can do it is if the movement, the person who's asking for the help, the one who's screaming, I need help now, that's the movement. If the movement gives security in an amount that the court considered proper to pay the costs and damages sustained by any party found to have been wrongfully enjoined or restrained. They must provide that security. Whatever the cost is, if they're found to, in case they have to post that money up front. So you're screaming, I need help now, I need help. Well, in that case, what if you lose? Well, if you lose, then you're going to have to cover the costs. And since we don't know that you're going to have the money, you need to put that money up front now. The only one who's not required to give security is the United States, its officers, and its agencies. But if you come here and you're sitting here saying, I need help now, then in that case, you got to post a bond. You got to post a bond. That's what Rule 65C says. And that's what Donald Trump is telling all his folks who work for him. So, with that in mind, let's go to page 2. Oh, wait. Did we finish page 1 yet? Rule 65C, which mandates that a party seeking preliminary injunction or temporary restraining order, i.e. an injunction, provides security in an amount that the court considers proper to cover potential costs and damages to the enjoined or restrained party, meaning when the costs we're gonna suffer if we're enjoined or restrained, if the injunction is wrongly issued. Wrongly issued. This is literally what I was screaming about a month ago. A month ago, I was screaming about this. Consistent enforcement of this. Do I need to pull it up? You don't believe me? You don't. I'm telling you, the guy, he's watching my show. He's watching now with you. He might be chatting with you for all you. He could be Judge Maddie. Okay? For all you know, Donald Trump is Judge Maddie. You don't know. He could be. He's dead, Jim. Yeah, that's right. That's right. You don't know. He could be Slidey Pie. Yeah, that's right. In the ghetto. He could be lurking in the ghetto with you folks. You're welcome. You're welcome. Yeah. He might be a follower. That's right. He might be a follower. Are you a follower? You don't want to be a follower? You know, he seems like someone who's very inclined towards greater personal growth through unity, learning, and thinking. Because he's learning and he's thinking. Could be Sherry lawlessness. I didn't want to, no one knows. You don't know. Nobody knows. The internet is a strange and mysterious place. You don't know. You don't know. Consistent enforcement of this rule is critical to ensuring that taxpayers do not foot the bill for costs or damages caused by wrongly issued preliminary relief by activist judges and to achieving the effective administration of justice. Therefore, it is the policy of the United States of America to demand that parties seeking injunctions against the federal government must cover the costs and damages incurred if the government is ultimately found to have been wrongfully enjoined or restrained. This is a very big deal. You never get that money back. You have to at least ask for it. So that's it. There you go. Federal courts should hold litigants accountable for their misrepresentations and ill-granted injunctions consistent with applicable law. The heads of executive departments and agencies, in consultation with the Attorney General, are directed to ensure that their respective agencies properly request under Rule 65C that federal district courts require plaintiffs to post security equal to the federal government's potential costs and damages from a wrongfully issued injunction. That's right. President Pam running. President Pam running up here. This is, I missed the injunctive. It is. It is. That's what this is. I missed the injunctive action fee. Yeah. Yeah. There you go. There you go. President Pam running. They should make that's the next thing. Make cults great. It's not at all a cult. Type of cult. So consistent with applicable law. So the scope of this directive covers all lawsuits filed against the federal government seeking an injunction where agencies can show expected monetary damages or costs from the requested preliminary relief unless extraordinary circumstances justify an exception. In requests for security under Rule 65C, agencies shall include, among other things, that A, Rule 65C mandates the court to require, in all applicable cases, that a move-in for an injunction post security in an amount that the court considers proper to cover potential costs and damages to the enjoined or restrained party. B, the security amount the agency is requesting is based on a reasoned assessment of the potential harm to the enjoined or restrained party. There you go. There you go. And C, failure of the party that moved for preliminary injunctive relief to comply with Rule 65C results in denial or dissolution of the requested injunctive relief. Meaning, even if the court says, yes, you screamy, whiny, annoying biatches are entitled to your TRO, but I cannot give it to you unless and until you post a bond in the amount that you are that the government stands to be damaged. There you go. There you go. This memorandum is not intended to, does not create any right or benefit, substantive or procedural, enforceable law, or an inequity by any party against the United States, its departments, agencies, or entities, its officers, employees, or agents, or any other person. Woo! I'm humbled. I'm humbled. Now, I initially saw this as being an EO. I'm not going to kid you. I saw it as being an EO. I even wrote in the, and I saw online when this came to me, I saw this as an EO, and I was like, a little bit. I was a little bit trying to figure out how that would work. If he made an EO saying you cannot get an injunction against us, I don't think that would work. If he made it as an EO, I don't think that would work. That's what I was sort of curious about. I did a quick scan of it, and I had read it. I had seen a clipping by someone saying it was an EO. It's not an EO because you can't make an EO that's changing the federal rules of civil procedure. It doesn't have an. That sounds really far beyond EO status. That sounds like something that if he tried writing an EO like that, the court would laugh at him. So I don't think he has that authority. I think it's kind of crazy to think that any president should have that level of authority. Not going to kid you. I think that would be kind of ridiculous. But it was an interoffice memo that he shared out. Is an interoffice memo that now all of his agencies hopefully are going to start screaming and pounding the table about. The other thing that the argument they can make, in case you're watching President Trump or your staff is watching, is it's not simply that it's a rule under 65C. It's that you're prohibited from getting the money back unless you get that money. That's the big deal. You cannot sue them for damages. There's nothing you can do to get those damages back. So you're under the injunction bond rule, you cannot get that money back. So if you burn through $2 billion in spending because Judge Amir Ali says, oh, I think you had to sign all of these things, and the Supreme Court is ridiculous enough to go along with it, alas, then you have no way of getting that money back, even if it's proven that the whole injunction never should have been granted. That's a ridiculous thing. And that's a burden that you and I are bearing. You and I are feeling that cost. It's coming out. We don't see it. It's not coming from your bank account directly. Frankly, it's more likely your grandchildren are feeling it because these are all zeros that are printed out of thin air and registered against the unborn. Amassing to $37 trillion. Thank you, Moses, for coming down the mountain and giving us valuable information. We don't want anything to do with that. Golden calves are never good. Golden calves, they're just bad. Golden calves are bad. You don't want golden calves. The AG tried this in court, said zero because moving couldn't afford it. That is something which doesn't make any sense. That sounds like something that's appealable. You cannot just ignore and say, well, they can't afford it. That's not the point. The point is not whether or not they can afford it. That's not the point. The federal rules of civil procedure don't change based on the person's indigence. And so that's just not the way it works. But ultimately, frankly, unless the Supreme Court's willing to stand behind it, we're really, then frankly, they can do whatever the hell they want. That's the constitutional crisis. The constitutional crisis is when judges decide we don't have to follow what the law says. That's a constitutional crisis. Because the statute written by Congress says A, and the court is saying not A. And it's not like a statute is ambiguous, nor does it give some sort of exceptions based on the whims of the court. So that's a constitutional crisis. The left has been screaming for the last 6 weeks, hey, constitutional crisis. The only constitutional crisis is when you have a statute that judges refuse to enforce because they're like, I don't want to. I don't want to. And like I said, like the Supreme Court of Hawaii saying, I don't like what the Supreme Court of the United States said, so we're not going to allow people to have guns, even though the Supreme Court said they have to have it. I mean, that's craziness. Honestly, I think that Trump should invade Hawaii over that. But that's just my take. I think Trump should invade Hawaii. I know you think I'm kidding, but I'm actually serious. I'm actually serious. Because they are literally flouting the will of the Supreme Court. So what are we supposed to do? That's constitutional crisis. I don't think he's going to do it, though. At least it's not. I don't see it as being on the agenda for March of 2025. Who knows what April will bring? Nobody knows what April will bring. I don't see it on the agenda for March, but he's surprised me a few times already, this administration. So, but anyway, all of this that he wrote in that memorandum of law, all of this is stuff that I was explaining a month ago, stuff that I was hoping he would be implementing. I said it a month ago, and I repeated it last night, that this injunction bond rule is a potential invaluable tool in the arsenal of government attorneys who are saying, how the hell can you enforce us and compel us to spend monies that are non-recompensable? Doesn't make any sense. Don't make no sense. I didn't see that I didn't see that there was. So I don't want to answer this question because I'm not sure. Is it supposed to be preliminary hearing? Preliminary hearing. There's so many different hearings that try and keep track of them all. It's become like a nightmare. Now you got me questioning myself. This is what I'm seeing on this. It did happen today from Judge Amir. Judge Amir Ali gave the State Department 4 days to pay past invoices from groups suing over the aid freeze. Federal judge has set a new deadline of Monday for the Trump administration to pay a large batch of backlogged invoices for foreign aid programs, but has sharply scaled back the amount of money they will need to be sent out by then. U.S. District Judge Amir Ali issued the new directive Thursday, just after the Supreme Court rejected the administration's emergency appeal of an earlier order that Ali issued in a pair of lawsuits challenging President Donald Trump's broad freeze of foreign aid. Judge's earlier order had imposed a deadline of February 26 to send out an estimated $2 billion the government owes to contractors and grant recipients who run aid programs abroad. The February 26 deadline passed while the administration's appeal was pending, and the High Court on Wednesday sent the case back to Ali with instructions to clarify the government's obligations now. Ali's new order gives the Trump administration until 6 p.m. Monday to pay the plaintiffs in the lawsuits all the money they're entitled to on invoices and similar requests to draw down grant funds initiated prior to February 13th. Contractors and grantees who are not parties to litigation are not subject to the new Monday deadline. Some money they are owed will likely remain frozen for now. Oh, so it's not everyone. It's only people who are signed on. It's not entirely clear how much money the administration will be required to disperse by Monday, but people involved in litigation said it appears to be at least several $100 million. During a hearing Thursday afternoon that stretched to more than 4 hours, Ali repeatedly emphasized they were seeking to follow the Supreme Court's admonition that he show due regard for the feasibility of any compliance timelines. I intend to take that instruction very seriously, the judge said. State Department's officials worked overnight Wednesday to approve about $70 million in payments to the plaintiffs in the suits. Justice Department attorneys said in a court filing Thursday. God, this gets me so angry at Barrett and Roberts. It gets me so angry at them. Like, so angry at them. Especially Barrett. I mean, you were freaking appointed by Donald Trump. You were appointed by Trump, and you have just, what an utter embarrassment. Utter embarrassment. Shame on you. Shame on you, Justice Barrett. Awful. Awful. Unbelievable. Gets me angry. Not going to kid you. Gets me very, very angry. It's a really terrible, terrible decision. Moving on in the news today. Oh, wait, one last question here. Eclectic Deb asking, so the question becomes, what happens next? Should our president give the court the middle finger like Biden did after we saw that he didn't have the authority to forgive student loans? If so, what becomes of our vote? Do I want to see him give the court the middle finger over this? So one of the things that I was talking about with Branca is the danger of giving rhinos an opening to start saying that he's breaking the Constitution and needs to be impeached. That's really what the obvious concern is, right? So the question is how far they can be pushed. How far they can be pushed. If he literally just ignores, I don't think that this is not where I do I like giving in on this one? No, it makes me sick to my stomach and it gets me angry as hell at two justices in particular. If you're asking me whether this is where he should be flipping them the bird, I don't think this is politically the smart. I don't think it's politically the smart move. I don't think it's the right move. I think it's the wrong. Politically, it's the wrong move because this will be used against him by his political enemies, and at this point, having the government pay this money that they committed to pay, while it's disturbing and it's gross and it's sickening, I will make the following point to you. If these monies were paid before January 20th, you wouldn't have known about it, you wouldn't have cared about it. I'm sure countless monies like this were spent. We're talking about saving the entire nation and over a couple of $1 billion to have his political longevity trashed down into potentially get trashed by his political enemies. I think it's not the right call. I think the right call is just be like, well, that's what the court said. I'm going to do it. On this one, certainly. On this one, yeah. But I'm curious about your take on that. A lot of people say, well, you can't do that. It's a slippery slope. You're going to start doing that on this one. You'll do it on the next one. You'll do it on the next one. You'll do it on the next one. You'll just always just be catering into this woke rhino crap. And I understand that argument. I just feel like on an issue about money, I don't really think it's the right call. I think it's the wrong call. I think that he's, aside from the fact that just from a legal morality perspective, he's supposed to be upholding the law. And even if you don't like what the law is, you're supposed to be upholding it. So I just think that if there's a place you're going to give, you're going to disregard your constitutional duty and give an agency or a court the flipping the bird, I don't think it's over money. I don't think that's where you do that. Is that order now considered an injunction, not a TRO? If an injunction, can the order be appealed now? Ed's asking all these great legal questions. The point being, you cannot appeal a TRO. You can only appeal an injunction. I think it's still a TRO at this stage. Which makes it that much more of a question how it is that you can compel the turning over money at this stage. But I think at this stage, it's still considered a TRO. Good questions. They chant D to America. Can I chant D to Amir? In the privacy of your home, you can chant whatever the hell you want to chant. In the privacy of your own home, you can chant whatever the hell you want to chant. You chant, yeah, in theory, you can do it on social media too. You can do it. You're just risking being banned. But, yeah. I mean, the question is not can, but may, and then the answer to that is it depends on the forum if you have an interest in staying in that forum. So I do think that YouTube would probably deem it a violation of their terms of service. So, yeah. The quote is representative of Justice Barrett. How do you write women so well? Nicholson responds, I think of a man and I take away reason, accountability. And she's not a stupid woman either. She's actually a very intelligent woman, which is that much more horrifying. It really is. It really is. Joe, the DOJ and the EPA are looking to prosecute people in the USAID and these NGOs. What does that do to this order? Theoretically, nothing. Especially because this order, I don't think this order relates to those expenditures. So I don't think it relates to that. So I don't think it'll have any impact on that at all. Especially because once this money is spent, as Justice Alito pointed out, you're never getting this money back again. That's not coming back. It's going to be dispersed. It's going to go out the way it's or spent in the directions it's supposed to be spent. It's not. You're not getting this money back. So, is the right move then to get Congress to revoke all the funding through legislation rather than ignore the courts? 100%. 100%. And that's what they're working on. I'll point out to you. Today is March 6th. A week from today is the last day of the current budget. So next week, we're going to be having a lot of discussions about the ongoing, unless it's resolved over the weekend. But they're supposed to be implementing all these changes that based on what DOJ has found. And we're going to be getting a new CR that's going to go into effect as of March 15th, unless there's a delay, which would be an embarrassment to the Republicans because they alone control the budget. So I don't think there's going to be a delay. I think the Republicans feel like this is something they can do the last second without having a concern about it. But the budget runs out next week, and certainly all the things you would imagine that Elon has identified will be rescinded or rescissioned or redacted, as the case may be, from the incoming budget that commences on March 15th. So if you've been living fat off the gravy train of America on things that Elon has already identified, that train ride is coming to an end, hopefully, as of March 15th. See. My understanding is that the contract P's completed will be paid contracts to begin as of February will not be funded. Oh, I haven't seen that. Look, here's the thing. Here's the other thing on these monies. I'll make this point, okay? I'll make this point. At the end of the day, if you're talking about what is just and what is moral, Okay, so we have a grossly immoral president sitting as president 46. He and his administration were corrupt. He had all sorts of corrupt accesses to all these different monies, and they were dispersing things and things of that nature. To the extent that now you have third parties who, I'll admit it, most of them, I'm going to assume, are very nefarious and corrupt actors themselves. To the extent that those corrupt actors, so I'm not talking about the Biden administration, I'm talking about the people who have contracted or granted courtesy of the Biden administration, okay? So, to the extent they had expenses and expenditures or commitments that they made based on promises made by that corrupt administration, now you're talking about people who are not part of the Biden administration or even one step removed from them, but potentially two steps removed from them, who are all banking on those monies to come in for services or expenses that they themselves have rendered. In that sense, I can understand saying, look, transgendering mice is sick, stupid, and a complete waste of money. But if someone did the work and they were committed, they were going to get paid a certain amount for that work. While I think that everything about them and their existence is gross, I feel gross saying that we're not going to pay someone for something that we contracted as a country to cover. Like, I sort of feel like, once America made that commitment, even though the commitment was made by very dishonorable people who are running our country, that commitment was made and the conditions satisfied by the party they were contracting with. I think it's a fair point to say that if the work was already performed, even as sick and disturbing and stupid as that work is, that doesn't mean you can just not compensate them because you're like, well, I hated this whole project. This project is stupid. So $20 million on Muppets, is spent on Muppets in Iraq. That's a complete waste of money. I don't want to see any more of that crap. I'm simply saying, to the extent that, look, people were paid. Now you can say, hey, I'm only giving you half your money, a quarter of your money, a tenth of the money, and I'm not paying you the rest. And I understand people making arguments like that, but when you start making an argument like that, then you have to ask yourself, how are you going to ever come up with the right number that should be paid? That's what ends up really being pay them or don't. So I can understand there being a morality point of saying, even if the people are nefarious and evil, whatever, but once we contracted with these people and they actually performed the services or the work or provided the goods or whatever it is that they were being paid for, that we sort of have I picture George Washington saying that we're morally bound to honor that commitment. You know what I'm saying? I think that does that make sense? That, like, you can sort of picture our founding fathers saying that was gross and stupid and wasteful, and it's shameful what these dishonorable people did to America. But now that they have done that to America, it's not. America is bound to honor that position that was taken there, and and the people should be well informed as to how corrupt our government was under that administration, but that doesn't give us license to just renege on a commitment that we have made. I mean, just ask yourself this: do you think George Washington would say, "Don't pay them"? I think he would say, "Pay them," and maybe under his breath, say to blazes with Biden, because he probably wouldn't say "F Biden," right? I'm picturing, with the wig and all, the whole F doesn't kind of just ring true. But you can sort of see him saying, to blazes with that besotted devil or something to that effect. But he would still say pay, I think. I think the founding fathers would all say pay. So, seeing as how we're continually looking to their wisdom and what we deem to be their morality, it's hard to sort of argue and say, don't pay for work that was performed. Now, if work was not yet performed, then I can say, hey, I'm not contracting to pay this any longer. That's a different thing. That makes sense. Can we save the USA by making it illegal for non-citizens to own or purchase American soil property? Just an idea. Oh, I'd love this idea. But then I think that's easier to say in theory than it is to carry out in practice, because there's so many stupid American citizens, and they'll open up corporations and use that to circumvent the whole thing. So in theory, I like it. I certainly would say no foreign nation should be allowed to buy anything here. So, and you can set limits on that if the foreign nation has even a 5% interest, they can't buy land here. It's much more difficult to do that with, I mean, I like the idea of doing it with non-citizens also. I think it's a very America First perspective. I just think that I think it'll end, if we end up passing a regulation like this, I think it's something that will sound good on paper and we'll all cheer and say rah rah. And I think that that a nefarious actor will likely find 10 different ways to circumvent it, no matter how well we draft it. That doesn't mean we shouldn't try to draft it, though. It doesn't mean we shouldn't try to do it. So what I'd say is I like it. I like your idea a lot, Ellie. Fun. Lovely idea. I just sent you a DM on Twitter at or X about your SCOTUS issue from a lawyer here. Hi, Florida. I know you don't want to read it, but now it's a good take on it. Okay. What'd you give me here? What'd you give me? From Lynn. So she shared with me a Substack thing from Jeff Childers. This is what I'm seeing here. And it looks really long. So, but I will try. I'm going to bookmark this so I can actually. I'll bookmark this. Don't say this. All right. Thank you. Appreciate the share. Thank you. Ranker's joke was better the first time when it was off the cuff, and he said, if you notice all the women SCOTUS voted together, all 5 of them. Yeah. I didn't repeat this joke. How are you? If you find out how a Praetorian Guard gets paid, what happens? What? What does that mean? I don't know what that means. I don't even understand that. I don't know what's happening. Okay. All right. Let me just do a quick check in the ghetto, make sure I didn't miss nothing there. Oh, I did. Squeaky Wheel says, Joe, at least we know who was on the S court, who on the Supreme Court is compromised, deep state or otherwise compromised. And I will tell you this, the one person who called it on Amy Coney Barrett was Robert Barnes. He was saying before she got the nod, he was saying, this is not, help yourself. He was saying that she's not someone who we're going to be happy with, and he was spot on. He was spot on. He really was. She seemed based and smart and outsmarting the left there. There was a thing there. Let me see if I can find it. That happened. I didn't bring up here. I only heard about this today. where Amy Coney Barrett was giving Trump this look at his joint session. I don't have it here. Maybe one of you will share it with me. That'll probably be the fastest way for me to find it. I really don't want to invest the time looking for it. But yeah, where she supposedly gave him like this sneer as he walked by. And it's just like, what the heck is going on here? Like, what the heck is that? What is happening here? Seriously, what is happening? I needs to knows. I don't know. Should we move on? I'll move on to a story that amused me. I'm going to break away from talking about Trump for a moment and share with you a story that amused me that I stumbled on today. And it'll probably amuse you. Oh, appreciate that. Just sorry, spaghetti confetti. Appreciate that, John. Thank you very much. They need more spaghetti on the walls. They're like eating all this. It's gross. It's disgusting. But yeah, whatever floats your boat. Whatever floats your boat. You guys are gonna like this story, and I think a lot of you may have missed it. This is one of those. I'm gonna call this things you may have missed. And this is something I think you may have missed, which you're going to like this. You're going to like this story. Apparently, Hunter Biden is too broke to continue his laptop lawsuit, where he wants to go after the guy who exposed his laptop. Hunter Biden has asked a federal judge to dismiss his lawsuit against ex-Trump aide. Sorry, not the guy, not the blind guy. Ex-Trump aide Garrett Ziegler over publication of his laptop contents. Biden's attorney cited his significant downturn in income and debt in the millions as reasons to drop the 2023 case. Now, even during the Biden administration, I spent very, very little time as I felt was reasonable talking about Hunter Biden, because I basically looked at it as if, yeah, okay, he's the son of this corrupt president. He himself is obviously very corrupt, but it was never really my focus on him, because there are a lot of corrupt people in the world, and simply because he's the son of our very corrupt president, and even though he was enabling our corrupt president, I gave him a little bit, but not nearly as much as some other right-wing content producers. So, but and I was like, I look at him as a tragic figure, like he's sort of a cautionary tale about kids born with a silver spoon in their mouth, and that whatever. It's sort of like just a living mess, and he's like a walking tragedy. But I found this to be funny. Court documents reveal wildfires made his Los Angeles rental home unlivable, further straining his finances. But this is not the part that I found funny. This alone, I'd be like, all right, no, this is not the part I was amused by. Biden reportedly has had difficulty finding a new permanent place to live, as well as finding it difficult to earn a living. Why? Isn't he a painter? Isn't he an artist? Isn't he doing so well? I missed this, where Trump vows to investigate the White House cocaine incident. I don't really care that much about that. I don't care to. But the reason he's struggling is because Hunter Biden said in a court filing that he sold 27 pieces of art during the early years of his father's presidency for an average price of $54,481. 27 pieces of art. Should we do the math on this? 27, because clearly 27 times 5,4,4,8,1. $1,470,000 is what he made for his art. That's what he made for his art. $1,470,000. But since December 2023, I've only sold one piece of art for $36,000. I wonder why that would be. Oh my gosh. $1.5 million between 2020 and 2023. Not bad for a starving artist. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. So corrupt, that family. So friggin' corrupt. And they never will admit it. And yet now all of a sudden he's struggling. He's struggling. He sold one piece of art in the last year, since I guess people started recognizing that his father doesn't have any sort of leverage, because he can't even maintain his own campaign without being forced out by people around him. So people started recognizing that his father was basically a vegetable, and they said, so he stopped being able to sell his art. The art wasn't moving. The art wasn't moving anymore as of December 2023. And this is what this clown was wasting his money on. I'm broke, I can't survive. Please drop this lawsuit. Also, Hunter Biden evading paying $1.4 million taxes while spending millions to splurge on hookahs, plastic surgery, rehab, and entertainment. This is his grand total. Payment on various women, whatever that means. His cash withdrawals are 1.6. Payments from various women, $683,000 over this 4-year period. He was living high this is all during the Trump administration. In those 4 years, he spent $400,000 on clothing. Adult entertainment, $188,000. Unbelievable. And then other entertainment, $24,000. Wasting $5 million. What a joke. Everything about Democrats is a joke. His dwindling art and book sales for his financial woes, saying his rented home became unlivable. Honestly, I think in 10 years that guy's gonna be dead. Probably 5. I think he's on such a crash course. He's on such a disastrous road, he's on the road to perdition. It's a sad story. It's cautionary tale for people of wealth and how they deal with their kids, because this kid is just a messed up life. But to me, what was laughable was when I saw that he made $1.5 million selling his freaking art. And now he can't sell any. And they want to try and pretend that art was anything other than a blatant collusive type of scheme between people who want to bribe his father. It was just such an obvious conduit of getting money to his dad. Unbelievable. What corrupt people the Bidens are. Broke my arse. I thought Biden got some Hollywood deal, where Biden plays in a weekend at Bernie's. That's dad. That's dad. Pull this up. Send you a DM of FBI in New York getting walked out. Ooh, that sounds like fun. That sounds like fun. I'm getting all sorts of folks sharing stuff with me here. Oh, this does sound good. I think people want to see this. People want to see this. That's what I should do. I should have people DMing me my content for a show. I should spend an entire show. DM me your content, and during the show, I'll screen whether it seems like something that's worthwhile or not. It's a novel approach. God, that would make life so easy. If only life could be that easy.
It's extraordinary.
Bagpipes. New York FBI field office had James Dennehy leaves the FBI building to sound bagpipes after they say he was forced to resign. Dennehy was forced to resign after previously telling his office to dig in following Trump's election win. Also, after AG Pam Bondi instructed FBI Director Kash Patel to launch an investigation into claims that the New York field office was hiding thousands of Epstein documents. Oh, we definitely need to hear this. We need to enjoy every second of this. Thank you, Allegan.
An extraordinary scene outside of the New York FBI office in the last hour. Assistant Director in charge, James Dennehy, who was forced to resign under pressure this week, left the building to cheers from hundreds of his colleagues and the sound of bagpipes.
Every one of them cheering should be fired. Every one of them. Fire them all. I hope Cash is watching. If Cash and Pam are watching, I hope they're watching. I really do. And it's like, white jacket chick, you're fired. Scoop neck chick, blondie chick, you're fired. Just all of them. Fire. Fire them all. Fire them all. Every one of these weird looking white liberal woman, you're fired. Every one of them. Doofus clapping here.
He was forced out after clashing with Donald Trump's Justice Department after the removal of senior
Clapping seal over here in the black shirt, you're fired. All of them. All of them.
FBI leaders and requests for the names of agents who worked on the January 6 cases. He told those gathered that he will be their, quote, best cheerleader on the outside. We'll be watching for that. Another break for us. We'll be right back.
We're not going to be watching for that. You're not watching for that. You're not watching Nicole. I know Nicole's voice. You're not watching. No one's watching what the hell Brian Dennehy is doing ever again. No one's watching for that. We'll be watching for that. Will you? Will you share his tweets with us, Nicole? Is that what you're going to do, Nicole? We'll be watching to see whether or not he's cheering on. The next time we hear a story about the NYFBI, I look forward to seeing MSNBC sharing tweets from Brian Dennehy saying "Huzzah" or "For shame" or "Rats." We'll be watching for that. More lies from MSDNC. I made art when I was a baby in my diaper. Looked like Hunty's art. Yeah, his art was. If I pull up here, I'm going to do a quick search. We'll see if I can find some of his art for you, so you all can appreciate the talents.
What?
We'll see if we can find the talents here. I don't believe that's him. Yeah, that's nice. What? That's not art? That's not art? What? Could you do that? You know how much crack cocaine you would need to produce that? Look at this. Oh God. That's his art right there. Lord. Hey, look, I drew COVID. Unbelievable. That's $70,000 right there, for sure. You're lucky I don't have. Well, we're all lucky on that. We're all lucky on that. How fast will Hunter fall off the wagon? I'm going to see Marco Polo opposes motion for Hunter to exit case. They have counterclaims and legal costs. Art and book deals are just legal money laundering. Of course, it was money laundering. It will be interesting to see if they oppose it. It will be interesting. They try to break him. You can always live with Papa Biden. Good luck. I think he's waiting for Papa Biden to basically die and assume that he can take over his money. Joe, read the handicap signs in that New York video. Did I miss the handicap signs in that? Let's see. Non-U.S. CIS visitors and federal employees with smart cards? That's non-U.S. citizens? I don't know what the hell that's supposed to be saying. I don't know what that means. What is... I think it's a handicapped non-U.S. citizen. What is... It's USCIS. Yeah, there it is. Oh, U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services. Oh, it'd only be for them. I don't understand what that would be. That's the weirdest thing. That is so weird. Questions. Is this the retro of the 100+ lawsuits already filed? Will courts ignore the rule as was this retroactive? You can't do it retroactively. You cannot do it retroactively. You have to ask for it when the TRO is first being signed. Will courts ignore this rule as they've ignored the Constitution? Very possibly many will. Not going to kid you, very possibly many will. Can judges set ridiculously low monetary amount? Look, a judge has broad discretion. Under the law, no. They cannot. They cannot set a ridiculously low amount. They have to cover the potential damages that will be sustained by the party opposing the TRO. So whatever potential damages will be sustained, that's how much they're supposed to put in the pot to set aside to protect them in case the TRO is wrongful. But we very easily can see judges who will ignore their duty to actually do that. You're asking me what the law says. I'm telling you what the law says. You're asking me in practice what happens. It doesn't usually happen. It doesn't usually happen. Usually judges are following the law. But you do good enough forum shopping. I don't know what to tell you. These things happen. Imagine I'm Hunter's real father, Joe. When I mentioned off who might be Donald Trump watching, I didn't come up with Unicorn Pop. I did not come up with Unicorn Pop. I want to just pause and let you all know that after the show, I'm scheduled to have a locals. I plan on breaking down for you the Charlie Kirk interview with Gavin Newsom and some very, very interesting perspectives that Gavin was throwing out there. He's definitely trying to position himself as the lead Democrat candidate in 2028. There's absolutely no question about that. And just the distinction between his approach during in the wake of the November election versus what we've seen from the Democrats. And what we've seen from the Democrats and their disastrous approach, which his approach, I can't deny, is a far shrewder and potentially dangerous approach from a MAGA perspective. So I plan on reviewing that. That's supposed to be starting at 12:30, which is in 45 minutes is when I'm supposed to be starting that. That's at goodlogic.locals.com. The link is in the description. The link is pinned in the chat. That applies whether you're on Rumble. That applies whether you're on YouTube. And we definitely plan on hanging out and having a good time there. I also have a couple of videos that I definitely cannot share here that I plan on sharing over there. So that's going to be at 12:30, which is, like I said, in 45 minutes or so. 45 minutes or so. But I have more news of the day that I need to share with you all. so that we're all on the same page and can all appreciate and understand exactly what's going on here. I'm going to tell you this. Nothing this woman says, unfortunately, inspires very much confidence in me. And I'm talking, alas, about Pam Bondi. This is, it just feels like rhinos being rhinos. Because everything about this feels wrong.
What are the things that, and maybe
when I say rhinos, I mean her and Sean Hannity, obviously.
some people don't understand the need to redact. In the case of a victim, that should be pretty obvious to people.
They're talking about the Epstein files and releasing the Epstein files.
What are the other things that maybe you would have to redact?
Well,
so she asked her a question. What other things do you need to redact? Okay, so you take out the names of the victims. All right, we're all cool with that. Take out Virginia Guffey's name and the other names. Okay. And then to hear the lurid details as to which girl was involved in what sordid sickness of some other demented individual. What else do you need to redact?
National security.
Oh, look at him volunteering an answer for her. I just asked you a question. I'm going to answer it myself.
You would have to redact.
well,
National security.
no, of course. Now,
Why are you throwing this out at her? National security. And it's such a ridiculously stupid answer also. What you going to say? No, we're going to give up national security? No, the national security stuff, that's definitely going to be good for everyone. But what the hell kind of national security would you possibly have? Think about this scenario. What is going on here? Why is there national security in the Epstein file? There are so many things I would think would be in this Epstein file, and way, 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 way down on the list as to what would be in the Epstein file are things of national security. Walk me through it, because I'm struggling to figure out what issues of national security are going to be there. Because the only way I would think that he has access to national security would be, A, if he's a federal agent or some operative on behalf of the feds. Okay, that you can get me on board with really fast. But then it has to be that he was blackmailing secrets out of basically maps in powerful places. And it's, I guess, American secrets. That's what I'm assuming. And now he's sharing that with the FBI. And why is he blackmailing American secrets out of the FBI? Like, what is it that would be in this file? How does he have access to national secrets? Who's giving him this information? You think that, are we supposed to think now that he was blackmailing Clinton to get Clinton to tell over how many nuclear subs are in the North Sea? What kind of national secret, which obviously whatever national secrets he had. The guy's been dead for what, 5 years now? What national secrets could he possibly have? I don't understand anything here. Why would he have ever had national secrets? And what would he have that is still a national secret today? What is he in the Epstein file? Is there the FBI JFK file? Like, I just want to know what is in the Epstein file that's a national secret that is still relevant and timely in 2025. Because I can't even begin to imagine this. I can't even begin to imagine it. And this is just lunacy. It makes no sense at all. Oh, of course, they have to keep out national secrets. Why? Why? Well, where? How? Of what nature? Who gave him national secrets? I want to know who gave him national secrets. That's something that should be damn square in the file. That's, if he got national secrets, we should know why the heck this ridiculous, insane playboy billionaire, whether he's an operative or not, had access to national secrets. That's what I want to know. I want to know the name of the people who gave him national secrets. What kind of national secrets? This is the most insane thing in the world. It's craziness. I want those people prosecuted. Why are you giving up national secrets to freaking Jeffrey Epstein? Wait. What is it like? Is that something he's using for part of his whole honeypot plan there? I would make a joke about it. I just feel gross and disgusting making a joke about the evil garbage that guy was doing. So of course, yeah, national secrets. Yeah, Sean. Yes, Sean. National secrets, obviously national. Of course, duh.
Well,
National security?
no, of course, national security, some grand jury information, which is always going to be confidential. But we'll
Why? 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 What's the grand jury information? What does that even mean? What grand jury information? I don't even know what that is. She's thrown this out a couple of times. I that's the grand jury information. That's what people can. There's pages and pages of grand jury information. Well, what do you know about your grand juries? That's so dangerous. You think anyone's going to start harassing someone who's on a grand jury list for indicting Jeffrey Epstein? Why? If I was not serving on any grand jury that indicted Jeffrey Epstein, but if I was on a grand jury for Jeffrey Epstein, that means I indicted him. So people find my name on that list, they'd all be like, "Oh, go you, go Joe, you indicted him. Good job." Right? I mean, what is the whole thing that we have to be so secret about? Oh my gosh! Obviously the grand jury. Shh, 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 shh. No one can know anything. No one can know anything about the grand jury. It's very, very hush hush. What? Why? Why would that possibly? Are there hordes of Jeffrey Epstein fans out there who are all gonna be like, "I can't believe that guy in the grand jury indicted Jeffrey Epstein. Man, that ticks me off. I'm gonna start making all sorts of harassing phone calls and threatening that guy. How dare you indict Jeffrey Epstein?" Like, what grand jury information? What are you talking? I don't know what the hell they're even talking about here. There's nothing aside from the names of the victims that should be kept out of here. Great. National security and grand jury. That's what we got. National security and grand jury information. I can promise you right now, anyone who's on that grand jury and that name gets out and that thing there, people are buying that person a beer. We have to keep it silent. Shh, 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 shh. This just seems so shady, and everything about the way she answers this question seems so nervous and just
Oh, of course, national security, some grand jury information, which is always going to be confidential. But we'll see. Let's look through them as fast as we can. Get it out to the American people, because the American people have a right to know.
Okay, this is the politician talking to me now. The American people have a right to know. Just stop it. We have a right to know it, but we're just not giving it to you.
Not only on that, but on Kennedy, on Martin Luther King, on all of these cases that the Biden administration has just sat on.
Let's talk about how bad the Democrats are while I'm not doing anything to help you.
For all these years. So yeah, it's really, it's not sad. It's infuriating.
This is infuriating. That we have to hear you talking about this is infuriating.
That these people thought that they could sit on this information, but they can't.
You're sitting on it.
A new day, and we believe in transparency, and it's going to come out. And when we redact things, Sean, what we're going to do is not just pull pages out like they used to do. If something's redacted, you will know the line and you will know why it's redacted.
What are the things that, and
ridiculousness. I'm really losing. I'm losing any instead of sitting there talking to stupid Sean Hannity, you should just go out there and release the files. Whatever 13 seconds you're wasting talking to Sean Hannity is wasted time from getting us the files. I don't need you talking to him, giving us lip service about how terrible the other side is for not giving us these files. Seriously. Why don't you just dual stream on locals and YouTube on nights like these? You can just end on YouTube and then move to locals exclusively. There's good reasons. You see, why don't I just... That's a really good idea. That is a really good idea. I don't know! Why haven't I been doing that? I don't know. That's a really good idea, Tyler. Going forward, I think that's a great plan. I only have 3 slots, and I send to Locals, Rumble, and X, but I could basically carve out X for those nights. That's the real reason is I had 3 slots, but X is a very limited utility. It's a very limited utility. It probably would make more sense to do it that way. I like it. I like it. I think people, when they come over to Locals, they're sort of, nah, that's not a good answer. Your question, I don't have a good enough answer for your question to reason to say no to explain why I haven't done that. I'm probably going to start doing that now. Thank you. I like the idea. Thank you very much. Could Trump propose putting $2 billion into escrow with court for USA TRO arguing Rule 65? That's not allowed under the order. That is not allowed. And the court would be like, what the heck are you doing? No, I don't think that would work. There was a second noose. There was a second noose. Oh, and Epstein, maybe. I don't know. National secret is that politicians were involved. That's exactly the sort of thing that shouldn't be a national secret. That's what should never be a national secret. Trump watches. He's one of us. We shall buy him a golden tracksuit and an extra goat in his honor. You make us proud, dear leader. Thank you, Eric. Thank you very much. And he is watching right now, apparently. That's all evidence is pointing in that direction. I cannot prove it dispositively, but there's just too much evidence in that direction. We have right to know, but our common law access to government documents has been tossed in the trash. That, sadly, is too true. Where's Hannity's CIA pin? He is such a glowy. There's a distinction. This is a distraction. F. Epstein. They sold their. Oh my gosh, you leave me hanging here, Richard. You're leaving me hanging. What did they sell? Dang it. Now we're never going to know. Now we're never going to know. Here's the last thing. What's the cover kid? Oh. So this happened yesterday. 2 more things I want to cover with you. Major win. President Trump, D.C. Circuit Court says Obama District Court's Judge Amy Berman Jackson's order reinstating the special counsel against President Trump's will. In other words, we stay her TRO. In other words, Hampton Dellinger, you're fired. You're fired. Hampton Dellinger, you're fired. Yes, he is fired. If you try reading this, it is so confusing. It is so confusing trying to translate this into English. I can do it for you if you want. Just so you all know that I'm still a lawyer. I'm still admitted to practice. I can do it for you. It is so confusing. I was sitting there, I was breaking down. So let's do the legalese. Let's do the legalese. It's only 1 page. We can get through it. All right. So understand what happened. He said you're fired. Then Hampton Dellinger ran to the district court. District court said, no. TRO, you want your TRO? Oh, sure, I'll give you a TRO. You're required to put him in there effective immediately. Give him access, Hampton Dellinger, effective immediately. Let me explain to you before I get into this order, and we will. Let me explain to you why this is significant. Hampton Dellinger is outside special counsel. One of his, and if you look up, and we did look up here on the show what an outside special counsel does, one of the things they do is that they are supposed to protect whistleblowers. They're supposed to protect whistleblowers. You remember those FBI agents who were whistleblowers about Hunter Biden and Joe Biden, all the monies that were going on there? They got any protections? No. He's been on the job less than a year. And basically the only whistleblowers who came in there because they were exposing Joe Biden, he basically did nothing. He let them twist in the wind. Look at all the protections that were happening for the whistleblowers that were going on there during when we had a freaking impeachment of Donald Trump in 2018. I mean, we're going to hear from the whistleblowers. We're not going to hear from the whistleblowers. Oh my God, how dare you? And those were whistleblowers who were generated, according to many reports, by Adam Schiff himself. That they were corrupt whistleblowers. And so much protection for them. It's like I'm so tired of the fact that whistleblowers are basically inviolate if they're coming out against Trump. And if they're coming out against Democrats, then it's like, oh my gosh, we have to know like their social security numbers and which lodge they're staying at over the weekend in case anyone wants to like take a crack at them. I mean, it's just unbelievable. It was really unbelievable. So that's why I said this guy was really, really, really corrupt, because he didn't care about doing his job. So, but Judge Amy Berman said, hey, no, Trump can't fire him. Why? No one really understands, but that's what she said. He's the chief of the executive branch. You can't fire someone in the executive branch? No, you can't. That's what the district court judge said. But the D.C. Circuit Court, which is not really well known for protecting anything Trump ever said or did, disagreed with the district court. Even they said this is ridiculous. Upon consideration of the emergency motion for a stay pending appeal and the opposition thereto. So who's asking for a stay now? There was a TRO granted. The TRO says, put Dellinger in. Put Dellinger back at his job. So the government, i.e. Trump, is saying, I want a stay on that TRO. Stop that TRO from going into effect immediately. If it stops going into effect immediately, then he's fired. Because the only thing stopping from being fired is this TRO. And there's a stay on that TRO taking effect. So basically, Trump is trying to shove him out of the way. Shove him off a cliff, shove him off a cliff, shove him off a cliff. Judge Berman comes in there, Berman Jackson, whatever her name is. She comes in there and basically puts up a roadblock. Says, no. This application to the appellate court is like, let's temporarily take away those roadblocks. let's just stay those roadblocks from going into effect, so that those roadblocks are not here right now. So, the Rule 28J letter responds there to the consent motion to participate as amicus curiae filed by the Separation of Powers Clinic. So, this is some agency called the Separation of Powers Clinic. They said we wanted our brief going in there. And the lodged amicus brief, the corrected amici brief, lodged by the states. So, the states apparently filed the brief, which is construed to contain a motion to participate as amici curiae. The motion to participate as amicus curiae filed by Kathy A. Harris and lodged amicus brief. All these different peoples want to weigh in here with their stuff. They need, in order to file a brief, if you're not a party to it, you need to file an amicus brief, which is a brief that you're coming in as a friend of the court, amici from the word amor, amici. So, friend of the court. So, I'm not in this case, but I have thoughts on it. I just want, as a friend of the court, I want to offer up my thoughts on how this brief. In order for that to come in there, you need permission from the courts for those to even be deemed reviewable and part of the record. If they're not accepted by the court, then they don't become part of the record, and it's as if it was never filed. And even if they read it, they have to say, we didn't read it, so we're not going to consider the arguments raised in those briefs. So, in the motion to participate as amicus curiae by the government county, all these different motions that came in here. Ordered that the motion for leave to participate as amicus curiae be granted. So, all these different motions, we'll take them. They're on the record. The clerk is directed to file the lodged amicus briefs. It is further ordered that the emergency motion for a stay pending appeal be granted. So the government's motion for a stay that the roadblocks put up by district courts should not go up there yet. Let's stop them from going up and let Trump keep shoving him off the cliff. That application to stay her roadblocks is granted, which means now Trump can shove him off the cliff out of his job. And district court's March 1st, 2025 order be stayed pending further order of the court, except to the extent that the order vacates the temporary restraining order entered by the district court on February 12, 2025. The order gives effect to the removal of the appellee. from his position as special counsel. Meaning, in case anyone's confused, yeah, he's being removed. The removal of the appellee of this position as special counsel, a U.S. Office of Special Counsel. Appellants have satisfied the stringent requirements for a stay pending appeal, and these are the conditions you need to get a stay. And then she goes through different things as far as the scheduling. She tells the appellants, meaning the United States, you got to get your briefing, you got to get all your briefing done by March 21, which is 2 weeks from now. Then she gives the appellee another 2 weeks, and all that ends up becoming moot. You want to know why it becomes moot? It becomes moot because Hampton Dellinger said, no, Mas, I am out. I am done. I'm not fighting any longer. I give up. I'm a loser. My job is done. They're going to give me a whole big applause, like I'm Merrick Garland walking out, like I'm Scott Dennehy walking out. All my stupid employees, co-workers are going to give me applause on TV, and I'm going to have a nice, beautiful moment with them. That's what that's what he basically said. I'm done here. So I don't need to do any more here. And this is what this jerk wrote. Why is it not enlarging? I'm trying to enlarge. That's not good. There you go. Statement by Hampton Dellinger of March 6th. Amending my legal battle, so my time as special counsel in the head U.S. Office of Special Counsel is now over. My fight to stay on the job was not for me. No, not at all for me. Oh, it's not for me. Never for me. No. I am a much bigger man than that. Even though this job seems like it's my job that I'm fighting for, I'm not fighting for me. I am far too noble to fight for my own job. No. It's the ideal that I stand for principles. The fact that I happen to be personally gaining by being in this powerful position, being paid a nice sum of money, that had nothing to do with it. No. I'm Mr. Principle. The idea that the OSC should be, as Congress intended, an independent watchdog and a safe, trustworthy place for whistleblowers to report wrongdoing and be protected from retaliation. Really now? Really? Because you did a crap job of that? You were terrible at that. Now I look to make a difference as an attorney, a North Carolinian, and an American in other ways. I'm stopping the fight because yesterday, circuit court judges reviewing the trial court decision in my favor granted the government's request that I be removed. In other words, I've been fired. So let's be clear. The court removed me while the case continues. This new ruling means I lost and I suck, and I'm going to be embarrassed. If they're granting it now, there's no way I'm going to win all the way through this appeal. That's what this really means. Oh, wait. This new rule means the OSC will be run by someone totally beholden to the president for the months that would pass before I get a final decision from the U.S. Supreme Court, which I would lose if I made it all the way to the Supreme Court. I think the circuit court judges erred badly because their willingness to sign off my ouster, even if presented as a possible temporary, immediately raises the independence Congress provided for my position of vital protection has been accepted as lawful for nearly 50 years. You lost in the D.C. Appellate Circuit Court. You lost in a court in the D.C. Circuit Court. You lost in the D.C. Circuit Court. Do you know how hard it is for a Democrat to lose in the D.C. Circuit Court? This is the court that pretended and assumed that there was no such thing as presidential immunity, making mocking jokes that, according to President Trump, he could have SEAL Team 6 blow up Congress, and all sorts of stupid backward theories because they are so poisoned and hateful and spiteful against the current president of the United States. You lost in front of them. They said you lost. They said you lost. How can you lose there? And anyone, for crying out loud, they aired badly? How could they possibly air badly in favor of Trump. How bad was the law from your perspective that even the D.C. Circuit Court could not come up with some convoluted, crazy kind of way to come up with, like, no, we think Trump loses for this reason? They basically scratched their brains and they went there. I picture them. I'm picturing them there in their chambers, and they're like, and they're sitting there, and they're like, what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? Oh my God. Like, there's no law against Trump on this one. There's nothing. Like, well, maybe you can find some law from like the 1800s. No, there's nothing. There's no basis in law. We can't come up with it. This is the stupidest possible argument. I don't know how you tell the chief of the executive branch he can't fire someone who works him, but it's supposed to be in the so that there's no law on it. They never said that anywhere. That Congress never. It does not written anywhere. Nowhere. How are we supposed to write down here? What are you going to write? My name is Judge Pan, and I don't like Trump, so therefore Dellinger keeps his job. What are you going to write? What are you going to write already? Like, fine, freaking, all right, fine. I guess we're going to tell Hampton he's fired. I guess what are we going to do? Tell him he's fired. You got no choice. We're going to tell him he's fired. He lost with the most tilted court in his favor in the entire country. The entire country. That's where he lost. He's here saying they aired badly. They just air. Oh, I think they aired badly because they're willing to sign off on my ouster. Even president is possibly temporary. Immediately erases the independence. Does it really now? You just don't want to waste more money on this. That's all this is. You don't want to be schooled. Unbelievable. And given the court's adverse ruling, I think my odds of ultimately prevailing before the Supreme Court are long. Oh, you think so? You think so, Sherlock? You think so? You lost in the D.C. Circuit Courts. Meanwhile, the harm to the agency and those who are relying on it caused by special counsel who is not independent could be immediate, grievous, and I fear uncorrectable. I strongly disagree with the Circuit Court's decision, but I accept and will abide by it. You don't have a choice. What are you going to be like? No, I'm staying here. The D.C. Circuit Court be damned. I'm staying. Like, what are you, like, you're choosing. Dude, they're literally marshals, like, locking you out of your office. What, so like you're choosing to abide by it? You mean in lieu of breaking into the building and locking yourself in there? Because that's the only other option you had. You're like, no, I'm going to abide by it. I'm totally abiding by it. And that's what Americans do. Like, what do you think? There's going to be a whole team of Americans going to come in there storming the door for you? So you're stopping the next January 6th from happening. You're stopping March 6th from happening by not rousing the public to come barricading in there saying, give Hampton his job, give Hampton his job, give Hampton. What an audacity of this bozo. Unbelievable. You were crap at your job. You were crap at making any sort of legal arguments that even the D.C. Circuit Court could latch onto as a basis to try and forestall Donald Trump from his obvious executive power. And now you can't even admit how stupid your claims were, but you're going to say, I accept and abide by it as if you had any choice at all. It's unbelievable, this guy. He's unbelievable. It's just astonishing. The hubris and arrogance of this. What is wrong with you? You're a lunatic. I accept and abide by it. That's what Americans do. No, that's what people who are locked out of their office do. Unless they want to go to prison. I mean, what does that mean? That's what Americans do. Oh, like I can just hear, like in like this beautiful, like in the background, it's gonna hear like all this beautiful music for you. It's just like, oh, you're just such a great American. Oh my God. That's not the American music. I need American music. What's this? That's not it. Oh no, that's not it either. I need American music. And this guy is just, he's accepting it because that's what Americans do. You're accepting it because you don't have, like, I don't know, machine guns to fight off the military that would keep you out of your freaking office. That's why you're accepting it, not because you're American. Trust me, plenty of Russians and Chinese people would accept it under those conditions as well. I think MS-13 would accept it under those conditions. My God, that's what Americans do. What a doofus. I'm proud of what OSC accomplished while I was with the Aint. What did you accomplish? What you accomplished was that the whistleblowers who came to you, you literally shoved them sideways. You threw them in front of a bus. You sucked at your job. You were terrible. Terrible at your job. Awful. Awful. What did you accomplish? What, that you took a whistleblower report and then basically, I don't know, threw it up on social media? I mean, I feel like I know those guys' social security numbers. You're going to sit there, it's like, oh, here's the PIN code for their bank accounts. This is the proud of the work you did. Oh, great job. Great job, Hampton. Oh, you're a hero. You go, Queen. You go, Queen. Proud of the work you did. Well, it's particularly what we did support government whistleblowers and military veterans who we pissed all over. And I'm grateful to my OSC colleagues. I know firsthand how hard you work, how talented you are, and how devastating it is to have agencies' independence destroyed because this is all about nobility, not about me keeping my job. I'm grateful to my legal team. Shut up. But this was the part that to me was funny. In 2023, when a White House official asked if I was up for heading OSC, I posed one question before saying yes. Quote, you know I can't and won't swallow, right? He put this in a letter. I can't swallow my whistle. I can't and won't swallow my... He was too busy. His mouth was too otherwise engaged around the Biden administration for him to start swallowing whistles. No one thought you were going to be swallowing whistles. You were literally on your knees, just doing everything that the Biden cronies wanted you to do. Oh, there's something negative, a whistleblower coming out something negative about Joe. Oh, okay, you're going to screw them over completely. Oh, well, yes, sir. Whatever you say, sir. Whatever you say, sir. I can't and won't swallow my whistle. Really? You put this in? My point was, tell us your point. That I was going to follow, enforce the rules like an honest referee would, even if some might perceive as against the interests of certain individuals, including the president. Yeah. To the Biden-Harris administration credit, no one ever interfered with my work because you were working for them. Never. Even when some disagree with it. Oh, really? Some disagree. Today would have marked my 1-year anniversary. Today would have marked my 1-year anniversary as head of the Office of Special Counsel. For the rest of my life, I will regret I could not make it to the milestone. I tried. While I've given up on continuing to serve as special counsel, I retain my unyielding belief in the rule of law in America and the promise of our indispensable nation. I trust that as long as we cherish these vital precepts, they will exist. God. Sickening individual. I had no idea how terrible this person was until I read this letter. I knew he was bad at his job. Oh my God. Oh my God. Whew. Next show, I'll figure out how to post clips. It was next night's show to keep him over 100K, but I will get you under 100K. You're making jokes about it, but it's really not even funny anymore. I watch you every night, even nights you're not streaming. Okay, this is very, very freaking unsettling, brother. I think you meant it as a compliment, but I'm sort of like looking at my window here now, and I'm just like looking for someone wearing shades at like 12:30 in the morning and saying, "It's that mean? What does that mean?" The girls willingly sold their bodies. Oldest pro, that they're 15. Some of them were 12, and dead broke. So yeah, that's not acceptable. Where outside government can coworkers give a fire employee a parade while on company time? It's the stupidest. They should all be fired. It'll inspire all non-occult cult members to progress to the next OT level, obscure Scientology joke. Locals to access wherever you're discussing there exclusively. It's the Viva Barnes model. Yep. I appreciate it. It's a good idea. I will do it. Okay. 0% will ever get 2/3 Republican judges again in DC circuit. Yeah, that's true. Hey Joe, check out. But yeah, we'll never get 2 out of the Republican judges in the DC circuit. We won't get to 30% Republican judges in the DC circuit. Hey Joe, check out Tons and Roses by Chat Music. I'll do that on locals, okay? Let me find it. I'll do that on locals. So I'm running out of time. There's another thing that I had that I wanted from Chat Music. That looks good. There are a couple of chat musics I wanted to check out. We'll do that on locals. That's gonna be on locals at goodlogic.local.com. Goodlogic.locals.com. Now there's a guy who should pay damages to Trump. No jokes. You see Minnesota? What do you mean? Do I see Minnesota? What does that mean, Brian? Brian, what does that mean? Oh, Jesus, my new soap opera. Referees sucked. They get in the way of a good game. This is true. The lawyer totally swallowed. Oh, he was swallowing and swallowing. He was swallowing for days. That guy can swallow better than anyone you ever met. And finally, I'm just going to say this. I don't really need to really even say very much about this. There's one headline after another about this topic. Italy's Meloni pushes NATO protection for Ukraine. PM Meloni, this is Italy's Prime Minister Meloni, Giorgia Meloni, proposes extending NATO's Article 5 to Ukraine without membership. Article 5 is where if you get attacked, we'll come in and protect you. This could drag NATO into direct conflict without full commitment. A bold move, but is it strategic or reckless? It's retarded. It's retarded. And none of the Italians want to fight. This is, we're going to force America to fight for it. F you. F all of you. You know what I actually had to do when I saw this? I started trying to, I was asking Grok how to say F you in Italian, in French. In British, apparently it's bugger off. We need to learn how to say F you in every one of these EU languages because these lunatics are trying to drag America into World War III over this stupid Ukraine. This is insanity. One thing really put, and some people are actually like supporting it. 100%. These countries with no money or military capacity free. This is people against it. The transatlantic relationship has become increasingly problematic over the years. It's unbelievable. Yay, Zelensky. Yay, we're going to support you. Italy, France, EU demanded NATO Article 5 was needed for Ukraine less than 24 hours later. What was Russia to do? They can't have NATO nukes in Ukraine. It's a national security threat to Russia. Would the U.S. allow Russian nukes in Mexico? Hell no. 100%. Unbelievable. Unfriggin' believable. They're lunatics. They're lunatics. She found a clever way around no Ukraine NATO. No. Idiots. 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 I don't remember what they are. I think in Italian it's like favanucla or something like that. Favanucla. I'm learning. I'm basically learning how to say it in every language they speak in the EU. I won't say it in English. You won't hear me say in English. But yeah. Yeah. Unbelievable. Anyway, that's my story. I'm sticking to it. You know where I'm headed now, where you should be headed, which is over to Locals at goodlogic.locals.com. Dellinger decision was 2 out of 3 Republican judges. Won't happen again. Well, he's out. He quit. He quit. Oh, that's what your point was up here? That you were like, they'll never get 2 out of 3 judges again? We'll get 2 out of 3 Republican judges in D.C. Oh, so you're saying the reason he lost because he got the short straw on the judges panel there? Maybe. Someone in the liberal panel in Canada is wanting France to use a nukes on America. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not surprised. Wait, using nukes on America? That's treason. That's treason. You're a 51st state. That's treason. I'm heading over to Locals. I'm supposed to be there in 3 minutes. It's going to be a banger of a show. I got some funny videos. I plan on basically breaking down the difference between like the shifty Democrats and the completely totted ones. The completely totted ones. You're not going to want to miss it. We're going to have a great time over there at goodlogic.locals.com. There's a link in the description. There's a link in the chat. What you got to do is you got to hit the like and subscribe here. If you're new, make sure the bell's rung and stuff like that. Come on over to Locals. I'm going to see you over there in a few minutes. Till then, my friends, I'll be streaming out Layback Law tomorrow and a panel that we're going to have tomorrow on Layback Law. That's going to be tomorrow. And yeah, that's it. Have a good night, you all. Thank you so much. Lab meet, they, them. Donuts and bugs. Gold speed.